International news for you this afternoon. France's new Popular Front has won the largest number of seats in the final round of snap parliamentary elections. The party has won 182 of 577 seats. President Emmanuel Macron's Ensemble Alliance is second, with the National Rally in third place. France went to the polls yesterday in the second round of voting in the snap parliamentary election, which Macron called a month ago. A second round was declared after no party won an outright majority last month, and now again with the country facing a possible hung parliament. At the same time, French Prime Minister Gabriel Attal says he'll hand his resignation to Emmanuel Macron today, adding he'll carry out his duties as long as required.
Ce soir, la formation politique que j'ai représentée dans cette campagne, quand bien même elle a réalisé un score 3 fois supérieur à ce qui était prédit ces dernières semaines, ne dispose pas d'une majorité. Ainsi, fidèle à la tradition républicaine et conformément à mes principes, je remettrai demain matin ma démission au président de la République.
All right, let's bring you this discussion now. The United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention has called for the immediate release of 2 South African engineers, Frederick Potgieter and Peter Huxham. The 2 men are being held on drug trafficking charges in Equatorial Guinea. The group says there's no evidence linking the 2 to this crime. The men have been detained since February last year. Let's bring in the Potgieter and Huxham family spokesperson, Shaun Murphy. Thanks very much for giving us some of your time this afternoon here on Daytime Update. It's July 2024 now. Good afternoon. Almost a year and a half since these 2 men were detained.
Yeah, that is correct. It's been just over 510 odd days now that they've been detained illegally in a prison in Equatorial Guinea.
Tell us about how this transpired, according to the information that you and the Potgieter and Huxham families have.
So they were on a 5-week on, 5-week off rotation in Equatorial Guinea. They are both Frick and Peter are professional engineers, and they work in the oil and gas sector. They've been doing that for many years. And they were arrested on the 9th of February 2023. You know, that's when they were on their way back home. So they would overnight in Equatorial Guinea before boarding to come back to South Africa. They were arrested that evening at their hotel, claiming that there was drugs in their possession. And that's the basis on which that they were arrested and then obviously taken into prison.
I mean, Zane Dango, who was the DG in the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, this is a statement from 2023, from last year, from the department. He said he was dismayed that the embassy continues to be denied access to Frederick and Peter. And obviously this is in violation of international law. Has that since changed?
No, it hasn't, unfortunately. You know, we are, well, our access to both Peter and Frick is extremely limited. There is a process that obviously needs to be followed ongoing in terms of, you know, how Equatorial Guinea does it. And only once they grant you permission to have any sort of visitation to them, only then are you able to visit either Frick and Peter. Our last visit through the company to both Frick and Peter was about almost 4 months ago. You know, it's been in excess of 90 days that we've had any sort of contact with them whatsoever. And during, you know, the past 17 odd months, there's only been, you know, 3 visits to where Kathy could actually get to speak to Peter, and 2 where Sonia could actually get to speak to Frick.
So Kathy is obviously Peter's wife, and Sonia is and Sonia is Frederick's partner. Tell us more about their families, Shaun, and what surely must have been and continues to be a nightmarish 17 months and counting.
No, it is, absolutely. You know, the families are trying to remain as strong as what they possibly can. You know, we keep the end goal in mind, and we continuously, you know, want to keep our strength up for when Peter and Frick, you know, do return. We obviously don't know in what state they're going to return. You know, it's not just a physical experience which they're having, but obviously there's mental implications as well. So we need to try and, you know, remain as positive as what we possibly can. But, you know, you've got to understand at the same time, you know, if you haven't spoken to your partner in the last, 3 months, and they have been detained for something which they haven't done, the strain certainly takes its toll, and it has a huge effect on the families. They do struggle, day in and day out, not knowing how they are, not knowing, what state of mind they are in, are they at least kind of healthy under the circumstance? Are they eating okay? Medically, how are they? It's really tough, and not just on obviously Sonia and Kathy, but also on the rest of the family. They've got kids, they've got grandkids. So it certainly does take its toll. Even though they try and stay as strong as what they possibly can, it is really difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I can just imagine, as far as I can imagine, it is a hellish situation that you are describing. What's been the communication between the Department of International Relations and the families?
The communication has unfortunately, not been what we've really wanted to be. It's been minimalistic. We don't really know what the department is doing to try and secure the release. We have had a couple of conversations with them, a couple of virtual meetings and so on. And in the meetings, it comes out that they are doing their best. They are moving forward, to try and secure the release. Obviously, they are very limited as well because they're not getting access to either, Frick or Peter. And unfortunately, since the UN has released its finding or its opinion piece, we also haven't had any contact with the department as of yet. We have sent a letter to DIRCO, and obviously we have requested a meeting with the new minister, Minister Ronald Lamola, and we want to move these conversations forward because we really would like to know how they can assist us. At this stage. We need immediate action from the South African government, and we just we're waiting for a response from them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You need to know what the way forward is. Suffice to say,
yes,
there needs to be some sort of timeline that can be communicated to the family. Outside of DIRCO, though, Shaun, do you have your own team of lawyers looking into whether there's any movement that can be made privately?
We do. We have a team of attorneys that are based in Equatorial Guinea. I mean, this is obviously thanks to the company which I work for, SPN. They've been absolutely brilliant throughout this entire process. They've really supported the families. They've put this entire task team together, and they've supported us, over this entire period. So yes, there is a representation which is in the country, but again, even they cannot gain access to Frick and Peter unless it's been approved. We also relying heavily on the UK government because Peter's got dual citizenship to the UK. They're also trying to get visitation at this stage, and again it needs to be approved, and only once it is approved can you actually have those sort of conversations and then get some sort of feedback from them. As well. So yes, there's many channels that we are pursuing ongoing, but at this stage, we firmly believe, and I mean the UN decision has highlighted the fact that both Peter and Frick have been detained illegally. It's completely against all human rights violations. So we certainly need, and we believe that the way forward on this is with immediate action from the South African government. They are SA citizens, and we really need them to step up and intervene. We believe that's going to be the way forward, to get them out.
Yeah.
And at least I've got a bit of, ammunition now with what the UN has, the opinion piece that they've made public.
Yeah, and hopefully that moves the needle. Shaun Murphy, let me thank you for your time this afternoon.
Yes.
He is the spokesperson for
Thank
the Potgieter
and
Huxham family. And of course, it's in relation to Frederick Potgieter and Peter Huxham, who've been detained in Equatorial Guinea since February of last year, 17 months.